I am sure sports. You know me there, from coast to coast representing. I mean, I say this is righteous representing for Omar. You don't know, come get the sports over here from near and far. Boy, 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 boy. Me say I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. If me not sure, that me not say it. Know who score, that me not say it. Never know the game play, that me not say it. If me never seen a game, me no know who play. For your sports news, better come over here so. For your soccer news, then come over here so. If you don't love sports, still come over here so. For the day done, you are gonna love over here so.
So when it comes on to behavior concerning football, Jamaica is decent. I am sure that if we can get all of these things done, set in place by the end of April, it gives us enough time before the World Cup campaign. Not afraid of no Brazil, no Argentina with these crap of players. We are good enough. Remember to like, subscribe, share. Listen, comment. Let me know what your thoughts are.
Trick-Nick Jerk Marinade gives your meats and vegetables authentic Jamaican jerk flavor. The spices are directly from Jamaica. Spices like jerk seasoning, allspice, scotch bonnet pepper, fresh scallions, thyme, ginger, and garlic. The key ingredients to a great jerk marinade. 0% sugar and low in sodium. You want to try it?
Made up of 18 Jamaican herbs and spices, add delicious, bold flavor to your next grilling experience. Flavoring sauce, a marinade, basting, condiment, or topping. Trick-Nick Jerk Barbecue Sauce.
All right. Welcome to I Am Sure Sports. Good night, one and all. We have not a long show tonight, but a very important show, as we're going to have a discussion with a few of the coaches who were at the recently held U12, U13 camp that was held in Pembroke Pines out there in Florida, headed by Coach Freddy Butler. Several other coaches were there. And as you know, the whole idea behind this project is to give Jamaica an early start in interacting with families who live outside of Jamaica. So, you know, they have the talent, they have the quality, they can represent the national teams from the junior level to the senior level. It has proven that the players that we bring in from junior to senior add value to our football. All right. And so we'll be having Coach Richard Edwards and a few others who will be joining us to discuss that. But it's also on this night, Spain are playing the Netherlands in Women's World Cup action. So we will keep you up to date where that is concerned. Also, in terms of other news, we'll be giving you some updates on the Ali Cup. The first day of the Ali Cup was held at St. Elizabeth Technical High School. And I can say this, that Mannings played 2 games. They played against Cristiano, and they won that one by 1-0. And they also played against Port Antonio High, and they won that one as well by 1-0. So we will be giving you more updates on more games out there at the Ali Cup tomorrow. The action moves to Jamaica College before it concludes at Excelsior High School on Saturday. Lots of great things happening in short order as well. We'll be hearing from, not tonight, but very soon we'll be hearing from Mr. Donovan Duki, who is in charge out there at St. Mary Central Academy, right? That is his new project, and from all indication, it has been doing well and fantastic. Our U14 team today created history. It is the first time a Jamaican team has made it this far in a U14 championship. They are in the semifinals. I think that's a very, very good showing by our young players. So that's good to know. That's very good to know. And so we've been having some success in football this summer, and that is really, like I said, Adidas must be very happy. They may be looking to extend and increase the sponsorship they have with the Jamaica Football Federation because it seemed like they are making a whole lot and getting a whole lot out of this deal given the recent success. Or maybe it is a partnership with Adidas that has springboard some of the success that we have been seeing. All right. Also, want to remind you that we have an I Am Sure Sports Fantasy Premier League. What that means is starting tomorrow, when the EPL starts, you can begin to draft your players, create your team, and the person who accumulates the most points on a monthly basis, trust me, you could be getting a team jersey. Yes, a replica team jersey. You could get Jamaican jersey. You never know. So make sure that the link is in the description of this video. So if you want to be a part of the Fantasy League competition, and then there's going to be a big shield. You know how Manchester City and Arsenal played for a community shield. The winner of the Fantasy League will be getting a shield, the I Am Sure Sports Fantasy League shield. So, yep. So make sure you get yourself ready for that. All right. So a lot of big things going on in the football. Haven't seen some of my regular persons. Peso, haven't seen a lot from Peso. Balakar, haven't seen a lot from Balakar as well. So make sure if you're listening, if you're watching Balakar, come on, your fans are asking for you, man. Come on, give the people a shout. Don't be hiding like that. All right. So I think our guest is almost ready. So we're going to have the first one to talk about this, but there is one more bit of information, and this is some breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. On the EPL transfer line, Liverpool has just made a British transfer record. Yes, indeed. Yes, they have bought. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Not Kylian Mbappe, but Moses Caicedo from Brighton for a whopping 110 million pounds. Oh my word. Oh my word. Oh my word. Oh my word. So the fantasy code, if you go if you go into the, I know someone is asking for the fantasy code. It is actually in the description of the video as well. Let me tell you, let me see if I can get it for you and plug it here as well for those who are asking for the fantasy code. Let's see, let's see. Let me give you the fantasy code. I'm going to put it up so you can see it. All right. But it is also on the description. But for those who are not seeing it, so yeah, so that means Liverpool will not be signing Lavia, but this is right here. I'm going to put it up here. This is the fantasy code that you will do to enter the I Am Sure Sports. And Demo has promised that he's going to win every month and every day. Big up Christopher Wright. Sorry about that, man, but we had to do this because we have Coach Richard Edwards and Freddy Butler. So we have a few of them coming on, yeah, to discuss this. Yep. So Liverpool A whopping $110 million. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? $110 million. Brian Mighten, big up yourself. We understand that Nicholas Nelson has moved for a big whack of cash from Lions United to Dunby Holden. Also understand that Mount Pleasant will be without the services of the Mario Phillips, that busy midfielder who was very instrumental in the team. Jordan Fletcher no longer at Mount Pleasant for the beginning of the season as well. So Travante Stewart, as you know, he won't be there. So lots of movement. They have made some addition, but lots of um, uh, uh, outgoings as well down there. Yes, we just announced that, Donovan. You mean you don't know about the big whack of cash? How can you not know about the big whack of cash? What, you don't have enough hands to count it? Yeah, well, Liverpool, Fresh God, has been selling a lot of players over in Saudi Arabia, in the Saudi League. And we are also learning that there are discussions in place to relegate 4 teams from the JPL. We hear that those discussions, I think that's a good idea. 4 out, 4 in. I think that's a good idea. I think 4 out, and I think they want to cut down the numbers. So I think those discussions are taking place. I think Chris Williams is winning this battle. I don't know. So listen, this is breaking information. Here it is. The JPL could be going down to 4 teams. So every now and then the birds have been very active, right? So this is regulation, right? It says the 2023-2024 season Jamaica Premier League shall commence on or before the 22nd of October 2023 and shall be completed by 26 May 2024. These decisions are final and can only be amended by a majority decision of the Board of Directors of the GFF. The official awards presentation, if held, shall take place within 14 days after the final round of games for the respective team, right? 2 rounds, home and away, and the playoff, all right? The clubs participating are Lime Hall, of course, and Treasure Beach will be joining the rest of club. Here is this now. At the end of the 2003 season, 4 teams will be relegated. The top 2 teams from the 23 National Tier 2 will be promoted to the 2025 season. Na na ni, na na na, na na ni. Okay, so how many teams are in the JPL? 14. If 4 goes out, that brings it down to 10. And if only 2 comes up, we're back at 12. It was so, not for this present season that is going to start, but in 2025, according to this new release from the competitions committee of the JFF, we will be going back to 12 teams. Could we also, after that, further reduce it to 10 teams? Na na ni, na na na. I'm telling you. What do you say, people? I am telling you, man. I have to stop calling them birds. They are eagles. You understand me? Because they soar, they don't fly. You understand me? So we could be going down. Brian, there's a warning being sent to you from Rob Smith. He says, Brian Mighton, better start do some homework. Did he say homework? Better start do some work before you become a tier 2 manager. Brain Drain has a question. He says, if this was this year, what would be the teams? And just to get an idea, so if this was this year, who else would have been out? So the two teams that got relegated were Falkland and, oh my Lord, how could I forget? Two of the Falkland and Chapelton Maroons. I think the other team would have been Veer and I think Mobile United. I think those would have been the other two teams. Mobile United and Veer. Yeah. I think it would have been Mobile United and Veer. Yeah. Mr. Porter, why you say it doesn't make any sense? To reduce it to 12 teams and even go down to 10, why you say it is flipping and flopping? Which is, we could say that is a flipping and flopping, but I think it makes sense. I don't think 14 teams is sustainable. Well, the two teams who would have been in are already in Brain Drain, which is Treasure Beach and second promoted team is Treasure Beach. Oh, how could I forget? How could I forget that? Treasure Beach and Limeall. How could I forget Limeall? Oh my Lord, the people up Limeall are gonna beat me if I forget them team. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. How is it? Because you may say, I think it makes sense to cut it down to 10 teams. So what I don't like is that the 14 to 12 until, right? Dylan says, Maestro, Jason Wright need to make a move. To where? I think Jason Wright should stay at Malines or move overseas. That's just me. You are a big fish in a small pond at Malines. You go to a big pond, you're going to be a small fish. Unless you're moving overseas. All right, they say watch the fish argument. On this channel, we can talk like real people. We don't have to be, you understand me? To I think we're smart enough to know what those things mean. Yeah. So when we share these things, so that's the information out there about the JPL. Waiting on my guests to join. Yeah, Coach Boris, I know you're listening. When you're ready, you can call in, man, and give us your take. You guys, you want to deplete. You guys want to deplete, Brian. The people, they want to deplete your team. Liverpool fans, is Caicedo worth $110 million? He's that good? Is he that good? 110? I don't think he's worth that. In the same way, I don't think Declan Rice is worth 100. I think Declan Rice is a $40 million player, £40 million, and Caicedo is a £50 million player. That's it. That's me. What I said? Is any player coming in? All right. So I think. All right, people. Man is not the players making a Jamaican squad is not something that man is man. You know what I mean? No. Yeah, I don't know. That is Coach Al Grimson. He has full autonomy over who makes his squads. He selects them. I don't know that he even listens to YouTube platforms and stuff. But those things are in the hand of the coach, man. And when we discuss those things, we're not talking about selection. We're talking about who could be available because who comes in, it's in the hand of the coach. The coach determines those things. Dave Stone says he's not worth it, meaning Declan Rice is not worth 100 million, and I don't think Moses Caicedo is worth 110. You are telling me that Moses Caicedo is a more expensive player than Jude Bellingham? No, not worth it. More expensive than Harry Kane? No, not worth it. The person leading the charge of dropping teams in is the chairman of the PFJL. That body is run by the directors from the clubs, and I don't think they should be able to decide who should stay or go. The person leading the charge of dropping teams, is the chairman. Boy, Christopher Williams have put on some pressure, Mr. Williams, yeah, listen, you need to come on the program. You and I need to talk. You and I need to talk. Because some of the clubs, they must say, boy, you want get them out of the league, because there are only 8 and 10 clubs you want. So watch it. Big up Mr. Williams and Mr. Hill, of the JPL. With the rest of the world, Mr. Porter. Yeah, Mr. Porter, you have to call in and explain what you mean. What you mean with the rest of the world? Jamaica can't, when you talk about football, we cannot compare ourselves with the rest of the world, Mr. Porter. Come on, man. We're not at that level. We're not at that level. We're not at that level. We're not at that level, Mr. Porter. You think we can compare with the teams in England and the teams here and there? No, Mr. Porter. So you have to explain what you mean, because what you're saying, Jamaica needs to just stick with 10 teams, better quality and stuff. I like the concept of having 10 teams, and then you have 14 in your tier 2. Try to start out like what they have done with like one from every parish, and then as you go further down, tier 3 now, you have in it tier 3, you can have 16. And then you have a tier 4 and you have 20, and that is it. Anybody else go play a corner league. You don't need more than 4 tier. That's it. Too many teams, man. No brain drain. All right, Mr. Porter is going to come on to explain himself. You understand me? So I'm going to add him, because we have Richard Edwards coming on, and so I'm going to let Mr. Porter explain what he said uninterrupted. Welcome to the show, Mr. Devon Porter.
Man. Thank you, man.
You're welcome. So take your
Listen,
time and explain to the people what you mean.
yeah, listen. We are thinking about growing the sport of football in Jamaica. Now, we have 14 teams. What is the reason why we're going to drop it to 10 teams in 2025? And we thinking of growing the sport. The youth need somewhere to play. 10 teams at an average of 25 players per team that the club can afford is only 250 players. Now, look at the rest of the big powers in CONCACAF. Can we compete on that stage with the national team with we only selecting 250 players, to have 250 players to select from a national team? That means we will have to continue doing what we have to do. That's not growing the sports of football. 2025, we should be having at least 16 to 18 teams to compete with anybody in football. What they need to do is go out and try to find the money and do some work to grow the sport of football in Jamaica so the youth can have somewhere to play. If the youth don't have, they said idle hands, the devil find work for idle hands. And this is going backwards. This is the 21st century. Look at the rest of countries in the world. Look at how football is progressing. What are we trying to do with the sport? This is all I'm saying.
All right. So you want me to answer? I don't think what you're saying don't affect what is happening. We were having 12 teams before. It's just one season we play with 14. It was 12 teams. So they are going to go back to 12, and then they go back to 10. It's 12, they are going back. So it's just one season we play with 14. And everybody agree that it is not financially sustainable to play those 14 teams. All right? We cannot say go and get the sponsor. We have to look at the amount of money we have now and how many teams can that facilitate. So even if you go down to 10 and it's according to you, let's use your number, 250. All right, there is a tier 2. The players can play a tier 2 and play a tier 3. All right? And the other thing is that this is not for the Jamaica Premier League is not for the national team. I keep on telling players that because how football is
No,
going.
but where does the players come from for playing the national team? Must be the top league. Where does the players come from for play for England? English Premier League.
Hey, Mr. Porter, where the Jamaican players who played in the World Cup came from?
That's you. If you listen to what I say, that means we have to continue doing what we are doing. That means we not develop.
Let me ask you. The majority of the Canadian players play in Canada because the team that the USA used at the World Cup.
They were developed here. They were developed here.
No, they developed playing what? In the Canadian Premier League?
Not only the Canadian Premier League, they move off to the MLS and other leagues.
That is the point we are making. So the players who are going to play their national teams are players who are playing outside of the JPL. The CFAs and those guys who started here on schoolboy football and those things and came through. That CFAs didn't spend long in the Premier League. King didn't spend long in the Premier League.
But hold on, if we are going to regress, where are we going to get the next CFAs from?
How are we regressing? How making the
because
league?
we're going to 10 teams, so we have less. Listen, we're going to have less talent playing in the league. Their talent gonna fall by the wayside, management.
Mr. Porter, one of the things we have to start doing on this show is when we say things, we provide evidence. Provide me with the evidence that confirms your suggestion that 10 teams mean less talent.
Because there are players who's gonna fall by the wayside. Some are late bloomers, which we have no patience with to get them to the next level.
But that can happen when you have 14 teams. So what I want you to tell me is, how does 10 teams cause people to fall on the wayside and 12 don't allow it to happen?
Management. Hold on. 10 and 12 to me is in the same bracket. We must look to move forward to get more teams. Why having a tier 2?
So let me ask you something.
Okay, so, why having a tier 2, management? Listen, why not have? Okay, instead of having tier 2, because tier 2 you still have to find the money for them. Why not have 20 professional club which plays at the top level and use tier 2, tier 3, Tier 4, Tier 5 as the development league to get the best players into the top league
Which topic?
and make it sustainable.
Mr. Porter, where in Jamaica? Jamaica don't have one professional football club, and you're talking about having 20. What are you talking about? How you gone? How you gone so
Well,
far?
we need to go the sport. We
So
need to go the
you've gone
sport.
all over the place. Let me come
We're
back to
not
the
doing enough work, man. We're not.
listen. We don't want to get into too much work. We are stick to what we are talking about. So let's come back around to what we are talking about. You said if there are 10 teams, players are going to fall by the wayside. I am asking you, where is the proof that if you have 12 teams, those said players would not fall by the wayside?
Because at least
Yeah,
you
money.
will have 50
Yeah.
more players playing.
No,
You understand what I'm
no, sir.
saying?
No,
You
Mr.
will have
Porter. I don't
50.
agree with that. But hold on,
Okay.
money. Let me check
Cut it
in
to
there.
10, cut it to 8, cut it to 6.
Mr. Porter, nobody go to the extreme there. Mannings, let me check in there. Yeah. Night Mannings. Big up to the people when I chat and thing, you know?
Yeah.
Mannings, firstly, let me tell you. May I reason with a person, I think about a couple days ago, a cricket person, I asked him about Devon Porter Bridge. So the man said, no Devon Porter. The man said Devon Porter was a decent pace bowler. Nothing special. But him decent. Yeah, the man like Devon Porter to Ryan King, brother. You remember Ryan King is ever see this?
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Decent, but
man.
special.
Yeah, not special, but him said Devon Porter, decent. So yeah, if that man tell me to play, he used to play with Devon and Lucas. So I'm not gonna call him name on the stream still, but he was play for Lucas the truth thing. But him said Devon a decent thing, you know, come down and thing. Nice
All
to
right.
pace and thing.
Yeah.
Alright. Next thing now. Yesterday,
Well, no ball and wide. I never get into them details.
no, I never get into the stats, but he said I do a little thing. Yeah, so let me say something now. You see this idea that if the Premier League have 10 teams or 12 teams, then we'll get more money from the PFJL is a fallacy. I put it to you, Mannings. I put it to you, that is a fallacy. So that cannot be that shouldn't be the main reason why they want to reduce the teams. Because I put it to you that clubs on an average got more money from the PFJL when we had 40 teams in the Premier League as opposed to 12.
No,
So,
because it's 2 different years though. That is because the
huh?
sponsorship. No, what I'm saying is that the sponsorship would have increased. So more
Money.
money is
All
allocated.
I'm saying is,
that
you had
comparison.
1 year when you had 12 teams and 1 year when you had 14 teams. And I'm telling you that the year when you had 14 teams, on average, Premier League clubs received more money from the PFJL.
Yeah, but that
In
is
the
kind of.
year when you had more teams.
But what I'm saying to you, Brian, but when you're saying that, you must also look at the context of everything, because the year when you had 12, the sponsorship was way less than the year when you had 14. So the fact that
Money.
you had increasing
That
sponsorship
money.
means that you're able to get more
Money.
money. So it's not the
That
numbers that really, it's not the
money.
numbers, it's not the numbers that did it, it is the sponsorship.
Martins, and I'm saying if so, okay, so what's going to let the sponsorship? What is there that is going to
So,
cause the sponsorship
so
to
what
decrease?
you saying, what I am saying is that imagine if all the monies that were available when you had 14 teams were available when you had 12 teams.
Martins, but I'm saying to you, you are saying that the sponsorship increase. So I'm say, yes, I'm a boss. What is going to let the sponsorship decrease? How all right. Let's say for argument's sake in the year after 12. Hold on the Martins.
Sponsorship did not
Let's
decrease though. The
Mannings,
sponsorship decreased.
hold on, no. Let's say in the year after 12 teams, we had 10 sponsors. Arguments, just a number. And in the year when we had 14 teams, we have 15 sponsors. I'm saying this season we're going to have 14 teams again. Are you suggesting that the sponsorship that we had when we had 14 teams will decrease? So we need to have less teams to
Listen,
accommodate?
no. What I am saying to you, it is also possible that this season you will have more monies than last year because the sponsorship for the league may increase. It has
Okay.
nothing to do with the amount of teams that are in the league.
So why are we reducing the teams then? If that does
So here's what, because over time, because that's what I'm saying to you now. If your sponsorship is increasing and the amount of teams is decreasing, it means that the amount of monies that the teams will get will be more.
fair point.
So
Well, no,
yes,
fair
man is
point. But
man.
hold
We
on.
all know man is
Which
man. We all know
means,
that. Yes,
which
but
means like
is it about football or the money?
no, I'm going to tell you how it comes down to football. If
Mm-hmm.
Mullines, for example,
No
had
money. Don't use Mullines as an example. Use
if
Mount Pleasant.
if Mount Pleasant, for example, had an additional $2 million, they could be better able to pay players,
They're not
transfer.
going to get it. Money. They're not going to get it.
No. You see why I don't
Money.
want to use Mount Pleasant?
No,
And
I'm not. Mannings, if you use Timbuktu FC,
so why I can't use Mullines? Because whether Mullines get the money or not is not the issue, you know. All I'm saying is that, and this is hypothetical. We are saying if teams got
me a
more,
tell you, say,
you're breaking up, Brian.
what you
You're
see,
break,
you see what you was
Brian,
saying?
Man, breaking up.
You're breaking up. But people, here's what I am saying. If right now the sponsorship increase, so when they had 12 teams, let me use this, they had $10 million as an example per team. When they had 14 teams, the sponsorship increased so that instead of having 10 million per team, they had 12 million per team. In other words, if the numbers had stayed at 12, the teams would have had more than $12 million in that year. You follow me? So the point I am making is that if the
mm-hmm.
numbers decrease to 10 and the sponsorship keep on increasing, individual teams will have more monies at their disposal to meet their wage demand, to pay their coaches and hire more coaches, and to get players in windows. So I believe that will make every team more competitive and the league will be better.
Man is man. But you're looking at 50 players who could have been playing football, not playing football and doing other things.
Yeah, but we don't have 250 good players in the JPL. Not all the players are good.
Then okay. And if we go and
Even if
reduce the teams, that means it's gonna be worse.
No, because it's not the JPL fault. The player them not, we don't have.
So it's about not growing the sport. It's about having enough money to suffice the players and the coaches so the club can run.
Here's where you're wrong with supporter.
Mm-hmm.
The growth of the sport in England is not down to the EPL because they have many foreign players. The championship and the academies help. If we believe to grow the sport, we need more players playing in the JPL. We need to start importing players to make the quality of the JPL better. We don't have so much good footballers in Jamaica, man.
Man is man.
We don't have so much good footballers in Jamaica for provide
man is
quality.
Man is man. Man is man.
Listen, Mr. Porter.
Man is what makes hold on, I'm gonna ask you a question.
Canada don't have much good footballer to make all the games in the Canadian Premier League competitive using Canadian talent.
Who told you that?
Then I mean, watch the league. What kind of joke?
Right.
Every time I watch the league, they turn off the TV sometimes. How are you talking with supporter?
And Waterhouse come here and get 6.
It don't matter if Waterhouse get 20.
Okay, hold on. Here's the thing, management. Here's the thing. What makes
Can I ask you a question? You're gonna get
Go ahead.
When I say visit the doctor,
When last?
Yeah.
We get a checkup every year.
If you see anything, go and get a checkup. Then. Can you know something?
Man
Man
is
is
if
man.
there's two
Man
is
is man.
there.
Man is man. Here's the thing. Man is man. Here's the thing. Man is man. Here's the thing, man is. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Are we developing players?
But the JPL is not the
Is
place to
Canada
develop.
developing players?
You tell me them under 15 get knocked
Yes.
out today.
Yeah. So what?
Oh.
Here is the thing. Here is the thing, man is man. Here's the thing.
Mm.
Here's the thing.
But Jamaica
We
developing.
need okay.
But Devon, hold on, just give me a minute. Let me say something. Mannings,
Yeah,
let me
go
tell
on,
you.
Brian.
Yes,
Yeah,
as
go
a
ahead.
person who involved in the Premier League and whatever, I am not averse to the idea that maybe the Premier League need 12 teams or 10 teams to be sustainable. I'm not averse to that idea. What I am not in agreement with is the way in which the proposal or the idea is coming across. I'm saying to you, based on what I'm hearing and whatever, the PFJL are coming and say, yo, we need um 10 teams or we need 12 teams. That the chairman, him always said that. And me I say, the PFJL chairman reports to the PFJL board. You know who make up the PFJL board? One person from all of the Premier League clubs make up the PFJL board. Most times it's the president. Sit on the PFJL board. Now me I say, it should be the purview of the people on the board in the Premier League to get up and decide, say, I want 12 teams this year, and next year I want 10, and next 2 years I want 14. Me I say the thing can't work, so my boss. Me I
So
say,
what?
I'm saying the JFF who's in charge of football, they need to either undertake a study or whatever they need to do to come up with a rational decision. Now, maybe when them do what them do, them come up and them say, yo, the league really need 12 teams, or it need 10, or it need. But man, is me I tell you, say, based on what me see now, tomorrow morning the PHL can get a different chairman, and him say, yo, a 20 team want, because me can get sponsorship to facilitate 20 team.
Okay.
And
No.
me I say,
Brian, here's the
no
thing, Brian.
work,
Here's the thing.
me I say,
Here's the
can't
thing,
work, so.
Brian. Brian,
Because,
here's the
hold on,
thing.
the devil before you come in, me I say, remember, couple years ago, when the PFJL come in, the first time when them come in, the JFF and whosoever and them sign some MOU and say them are gonna have no relegation, then them are gonna increase the teams, the Premier League to 14, then increase it to 16, and tier 2 are gonna have 18 and whatever the case is. Now, in the middle of all of that, you're going to come and say, yo, nobody want 14 team. Give me 12 team or 10 team. And me I say, it is so me I say based on how me see it go, tomorrow morning, them can elect Mannings man to be chairman for the PFJL. And Mannings man say, yo, Bridging, more 18 team, because I want 14 from Senton to come in our league.
So
I saw it
you
look to
Okay,
me.
Brian, here's the thing.
you
Here's the
have a
thing,
problem.
Brian and Mannings. Here's the thing.
No.
Here's
Why,
the
Mr.
thing.
Pooh? Why,
Mhm.
Mr. Pooh? Why?
You want me
Why?
you want me go? All right, here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Why let me think about it? Yeah, go ahead.
When I throw 20 teams out there, I just throw a number out there. But in truth and in fact, Mannings man,
Mm.
we have 14 teams. And if we're gonna go back to 12 or 10, to me, it's not growing the sport. Here's what I would propose to the professional
Where is
footballer
the
Jamaica.
no? Before
Hold
you
on, no,
no,
hold on.
Mr. Porter, you can't
Find,
propose.
hold
Mr.
on,
Porter,
no.
come on, Mr. Porter, hear the thing. You can't say. Listen, yeah, this is the issue we have with the discussion. You are going to propose something.
Okay, I'm just gonna say something,
No,
and
man.
if they wanna listen to it or not, I
Porter, but you
mean,
have to listen first. All right. Give me the evidence you have for what you believe. Prove to me that more teams in a league means development. Where is the evidence of that? And then you can make your proposal. Because I don't know what evidence you have to suggest that the more teams are in the top tier of any country means that better talent will be produced and the sports will grow.
you will get more football, and the more football players they get better.
But you don't need more teams to have more football. You could play 3 rounds and play the same amount of game, Mr. Porter.
So you play one team how many times?
3 times.
It makes no sense.
To
Where in the world you see that happen? Unless they incorporate some cup game like the FA Cup or whatever. Here's the thing.
Mr. Porter.
Mr.
Porter. There are competitions in the world, top tiers, where you have 3 rounds. What are you talking about?
Mannings, listen. If we're gonna think of the youth and growing the sport of football, the youth need somewhere to play. If we have,
they don't have to play the top tier to play football, Mr. Porter.
Hold on, then that's where I'm gonna come. That is where I'm gonna start saying, since we don't have the money, to suffice all the clubs, top tier, tier 2, whatever, because tier 2 have to involve in this because they have to get money too. Why not can't we have, say, by 2026, 16 teams in the professional league? We cut out the promotion and relegation. Cut it out, the promotion and relegation, and grow those 16 clubs by using tier 2 or the major league or the Sid Bartlett as the development league to get the players to a level to get them into the top league. So we will always have a sustainable top league with good footballers.
Yeah, Mr. Porter, a long time to come to Jamaica still. Them dash Sid Bartlett long time, boss. Mr. Porter, a long time to come to Jamaica, boss. Sid Bartlett is done, boss.
Yeah, I'm just saying from what I know. I know they play in the Confederation. I know.
Because I'm a guest, and I know where you're coming from.
You understand what I'm saying?
Mr. Porter, here's what I'm going to ask you to do, right? When you write down what you just said and read it over. Boy, when you really
here's the thing. I'm gonna send you the blueprint. I'm gonna send it to you, man, directly.
One thing you just come up tonight and say, this me I go talk about it. No matter what management say, this me. Here's what I'm saying to you, Mr. Porter. Jamaica does not run a professional league in the entire Caribbean.
We know that.
There is no professional league.
We know that.
Hold on. Your idea that in 3 years' time, there must be 16 professional clubs in Jamaica. I think you need to write it down on a piece of paper, read it thoroughly, and then you come back and if at that time you still hold the same idea, I'll think you're being real. Because right now, I don't think you're being real.
I will ever hold that idea because here's the thing, man. We always limit ourselves. And we need to stop limit ourselves.
All right, but anyways, I have Cranky was there. Don't move, Mr. Porter. Don't move.
No, I'm not going anywhere.
Don't move, Brian, because I need to get back to you. But we have Coach Richard Edwards and we have Stan Cranky. I know Stan Cranky want to speak on this. I'm going to ask.
Big up yourself, Shortman.
I'm going to ask Coach Edwards to hold on a little bit, and then Stan, I know you want to come in and talk about this. So I'm going to give you a chance, and then you and I will get to ask Coach Edwards some questions about his work with the youth camp that was held in North America and all of that, right? So let's hear from Mr. Cranky. Welcome. What say you on this matter? 10 teams, 14 teams. Do you buy into Mr. Porter's idea?
I think we should move on to the coach. I think we should move on to the coach. The issue that we're talking about, the subject we're talking about, is gonna take years and years, and you need a comprehensive plan. And this thing about professional league and all that is not realistic, given facts, circumstances, economics, all of that. You need a much more comprehensive program And all the different components that informs this has to work together to achieve the league that we aspire to achieve. So let's go to the coach.
Yeah, and I think I like what Brian said, that there needs to be some anecdotal study, and then we come up with the idea. I think they just arbitrary coming up, like what Paul said, of just changing it. There should be some study to prove that 10 teams would work better than that. But we have Coach Edwards, you know him very well, former Harbour View man, also played for Jamaica. The epitome of little but with Talawa. You understand me? So if you ever
were you talking about yourself, man? Were you talking about yourself? Is that I'm just trying to get clarity here.
Well, if you consider me little, then I don't know what you say about Shortman, because he goes by the name, in fact, so we'll see. But he was very instrumental in the U12, U13 camp that was held in Pembroke Pines, on grass surface with Coach Boris Johnson, Freddy Butler, Carlton Battlehead Simmons, Kerry James, Leon Garden, who celebrated his birthday recently, and a few others were there as well. And so, first, Coach Edwards, welcome to the platform. I'm here with Devon Porter. You know him from Canada. Stan Cranky is my co-moderator, and Brian Myton is the man who called all the shots at Mullines United. He's here. Former goalkeeper, decent, nothing special about him. Used to keep going. So he changed words. So he's here as well. But tell us a little bit about, firstly, your experience being at this camp, traveling all the way from Canada to volunteer and be there. Tell us a little bit about it.
First, I want to say good evening, everyone. Thank you for the invite, my name's man. Yeah, man, to elaborate a little bit on, what you asked just now. Trust me, you see, in life, whenever you have an open mind, you're open to experience whatever is presented in front of you. And the information and the experience that I gather over the 3 days, trust me, no money can buy that. Freddy, maximum respect. Boris, maximum respect to you as well. Leon, Carlton, Backled. Yeah, man. These guys have wealth of knowledge, just to pass on to fellow coaches like myself, as well as the players. And what we experienced over the 3 days, trust me, man, the future looks bright for Jamaica football.
Awesome. And you traveled all the way. What would propel you to because you run your own thing. I mean, to propel you to leave your job, fly from Canada, stay in a hotel to do this, to give back to Jamaica in this way. What motivated that? What drove you to make such a decision?
My name's man, like everybody says, they're patriotic about Jamaica and, they want to give back and all of that. I am patriotic to Jamaica for one simple reason. Where I'm at today in my life, the national team kind of create that platform for me in a sense. So I want to, give back wherever I can. And the moment Freddy give me that call, it's a no-brainer. There's no second thoughts to it. We're talking about the national team. We're talking about helping out, your country to go on the global stage. So, why wouldn't I second guess myself on that?
Yeah. How do you feel just, as a coach, working over these years with talent that could represent Jamaica? Maybe they moved on to play for Canada, and that, man, this one could have represented Jamaica. They never had the opportunity, and now this has happened. I mean, firstly, tell us about how you felt when there was no open door, really, for some of the players that you have worked with to come into a Jamaican setup, because they're in North America, they're in Canada, or probably for some coaches in the US. But now a door has been opened and a connection is being made. Can you tell me what the feeling was like prior to this camp and how you're feeling about it now that there is a pathway for these youngsters in North America?
The important thing is to continue to showcase the kind of work that I am doing within my environment, and once people start believing in what you're doing, again, it's a no-brainer. People will start to look this direction because now you see the talent that is being presented on the global stage from a Canadian standpoint. The last World Cup Canada entered, we had almost probably like 9 or 10 players with Jamaican background. You know what I mean? So it's obvious that something is happening on this side, and it's super important for us to not fall behind. The Canadian U15 team now that is at the CONCACAF Championship, I think almost 5 or 6 players with Jamaican background is on the team.
Well, they lost today, I think.
Yeah, but despite the fact that they lost in the game, the players that have Jamaican background, they're top quality players.
Wow. I mean, and that's what I want to know. How do you feel to know that this is a player that I probably worked with to help develop, could have represented Jamaica, but he's done in the Canadian color? I mean, what sort of, emotions does that evoke?
It kind of give you a negative, feeling towards how Canadian football has been viewed. But I think now changes is going to come. I can see it. Ever since I post that I got invited to, assist with the U14 pool on my platform, the response from both male and female side, it's been phenomenal.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I mean, what was the interaction like with the parents and the kids? How did they feel that they were done in the Jamaican colors in this camp setting? I mean, how eager, gung-ho are they, feeling about one day being able to now finally get an opportunity to represent Jamaica, those who are not living in the geographical borders of Jamaica?
You can see, like, from the first day the kids arrive at practice, you can tell that these kids pride themselves with donning the colors of the national team. And inside the training environment, you can hear the buzz in everything that they do. But I think the professional approach from everyone who is involved with planning this, you can tell that the kids understand that this environment is not like the club setting where you find time to chit chat. No, it's all business like, as young as they were. Yeah.
All right. I mean, Cranky, Mr. Porter, I don't know if any of you have any questions. I have a few more, but I don't want you to just be spectating. So I'll you can open your mics if you have a question.
You feel sorry for us? So coach, I have some questions actually. What was the primary objective of the camp, and what were you looking to take away from the experience?
The primary repeat that question again. The primary
objective.
What was the primary objective of the camp? So you had the camp was primary objective?
The primary objective was pretty much to get out on the front foot in terms of creating the pool of players for the U14 setup, and creating that training methodology where like all the players will have an understanding of the pathway going throughout the youth setup. So, like these U14 players, eventually they'll matriculate into U15 and then so on and so forth. So it's super important for you to get them, to understand your philosophy from now, so that by the time they get to that stage, they already know the expectation. They already know the playing style, the system of play, stuff like that. So it's just to get out on the front foot. Before all.
And what were you trying to either provide or take away from the experience?
Okay, so for me, what I provide is my experience from my playing days to now, becoming a coach. I don't want to say elite coach because I don't want to put myself on a pedestal, but I think I have enough experience that I can share with the kids, and I have enough knowledge as well to pass on. But most importantly is to learn from coaches that have more experience than myself, because I'm a student of the game, and I'll forever be a student of the game. And the amount of knowledge that I gained over the 3 days, like I said earlier, it's second to none. Money can't buy that.
So I know I'm jumping out here a little bit, but we have always in these forums we talk a lot about players with Jamaican heritage and what we call athleticism or physical capabilities, and the fact that our players, well, it's been imparted to us that our players at 14 and 15 are as good as anyone else in the world. I'd like you to comment on that, but hold on for a second. But secondly, the transition they make to the adult level doesn't reflect, right, the ability they have shown when they were youth. So if they're 14 and 15, and there's an agreement that they are competitive globally, and they have the skill set like kids their age should have across the globe, why is it that they don't matriculate to the adult level and be able to compete on a global basis?
Yeah, this is the reason why the coaching staff has been dialoguing with different past players and coaches to change that notion. That's the reason why we're getting out front and starting to prepare the players, like both mentally, physically, and psychologically, to start making that transition from being a very good youth player into becoming a very great senior player. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's important for you to catch them while they're young and teach them your style, teach them your play, teach them the culture that's been a big part of our football over the years.
But I think the bigger issue is, and I think maybe you probably have experienced this, and I think it's a very good question that Cranky asked, because and it is so true that you see a player at 14 at Jamaica, and you probably see him on the street, you see him in Canada, you see him in the United States, and they look like these guys could play against anyone in the world, 13-year-old, because probably what Jamaica many would say the speed, the physicality. But when they get to 18, the gap between them and those said players that they were similar to seems to widen. Um, uh, is it because of the coaching that they have been exposed to? As if someone saying it's poor coaching, but what is affecting the progression where the normal talent becomes exceptional talent?
If
Because
you if money is money, if you look at like everyone else that we're competing with in the region, right? Most of their players, youth players, by the time they get to 17, 18, they're either, let me use Canada as an example. Canada has Montreal, Toronto FC, Vancouver, right? That's the three top professional academies, right? Then if we're gonna go into the States, there's so many of the MLS teams. Now, when you're playing um, teams in a competitive environment where week in, week out, you're being challenged like for every blade of grass on the pitch. You have no choice but to improve. You have no choice. But if we're going to compare with the level that we have or the standard that we have back home, it's apples and oranges. One of the biggest factors that's affecting our football is the surface. And for years, before my time, during my time, we've been crying out for proper surface. And the difference with players who play outside of Jamaica in comparison to who is playing back in Jamaica is the amount of time you spend looking at the ball on the floor in comparison to have your head up, knowing that the ball is gonna roll true to form. That's the massive difference. If you look at all the players that started out in our JPL, for example, why the same player gets an opportunity to go in Europe, right? And excelling. Why? The difference is the environment, the surface, the distraction. Back home, we have too much distraction. That's the real problem. When you're outside of Jamaica now, you have to live two lives because you have to still be, taking care of your family or your loved ones back home, and you still have to take care of your responsibilities where you're residing. But at the same time, you're more focused.
And yeah. I like that because maybe you're right. A lot of these players, when our players from 14 to probably 18, play between that age group less than 100 games.
Yeah.
And in these other environments, like you're saying,
So there's a view. Yeah, there's a view that the Manning Cup is a detriment in some quarters, I should say. Not everyone believes this, to the development of the player because they play against inferior opponents quite a bit throughout the competitive season, and the season doesn't allow them to play an abundance of football. It's a very short season. Do you support that notion? Are you in the same camp? I think that the
I
Manning Cup
can't
may not assist with the development.
Stan, it's gonna be difficult for me to say I support it, and it's at the same time it's gonna be difficult for me to say I am not in support of that. The reason why, I'm a product of that environment, and while I was playing Manning Cup, I was challenged. Probably in the group stages, you'll have probably one strong team in the group, but then when you get to quarterfinals, then you have to bring your best foot forward. And as you progress, the games become more difficult. Now, my thing is, you need the players, and especially the ones who are showing exceptional talent. You need them to be tested day in, day out against good quality oppositions and talent alike. If you can get, let's say, for example, out of, I don't know how many schools enter Mining Cup, but let's say 64 schools, right? Out of that 64, if you have 32 schools who are good quality um, teams, those are the 32 schools you need to put in a system where week in, week out, every game, they're fighting tooth and nail to get that result. You know what I
okay,
mean? Like
okay,
I have a player who I train currently, Manning's man. He's playing for Feyenoord right now, right? And oftentimes, like I communicate with his dad, the score line in those games is 2-1, 1-0, 3-2, 4-3. You don't hear no 8-0, 10-0. You don't hear those score line. You understand? And the games that they're clinching is either in the 90th minute, 89th minute. So it's give you a reflection that it's a tight game. In Manning Cup, you have this blowout, and then it gives the kids false hope as if they're doing something well when in reality they're not doing nothing.
yeah. I like that though. Someone is asking which school did they play for, but he has the orange of Danone, So
Yeah, I'm a past student of Dunwood Technical.
yeah.
Yeah,
But the
yeah,
thing is though, I think what you're saying, which we don't think is going to happen, is I believe like you're saying, because let's use a Kingston College. Normally have a solid team. Maybe there and say a Clarendon College, maybe there should be one competition for those teams, so those players who are in those environments can play regularly against each other, and then you have a different. But it is so hard, and that is why the idea is okay. The schools are not going to do that, so let's take it to the clubs. Let's see if Harborview Academy and the Waterhouse Academy and the Arnett Academy can get some of these players out of the high school system after schoolboy football to be playing regularly, because you know, Coach Edwards, that like in my time outside of schoolboy football, there were many other competitions that you're playing at the
yeah,
club at the club level. So like I was playing football like for the entire year when I was playing. Now these kids only play schoolboy football, and they are parked until the next schoolboy football season, unless they are good enough to play tier 2 or the Premier League. While the kids in the US and Canada and Mexico, are playing all year round, indoors, outdoors. They are playing football at an elite and competitive level right throughout the year. So they have probably 1,000 hours when a kid in Jamaica with this head talent has 100 hours. So that kid is 900 hours better.
Always. Management, this what I'm about to say. This is just a general thing in regards to our people. It's simple. Our people don't like changes, whether it's good or bad. We don't like changes. We don't embrace changes. Like we like the patch
So,
up
so
work.
Manning,
Thank you,
go ahead.
Shortman. Thank you for saying
Go
that.
ahead. Go ahead.
Mr. Porter, that has nothing to do with what you were saying earlier. That's what I'm trying to
Management, here's the thing. You well and know, management, you well and know that it has a lot to do with that. Even when
being professional, TV
No,
trainer.
never wake up. Never wake up. Never wake up. Never
even when
wake up.
even when Shortman says they need to be playing, I mentioned that over and over. But here's the thing. Um, I don't have a question for Sharpman because I've been in dialogue with the coaches who are having the camps, and I want to do is just to big them up because this what they're doing what never been done before with these kids at this age having interest in representing Jamaica, and this is all they can bear fruits and get better. And they must just big up themselves, and I thank them very much. Big up yourself, Shortman.
Yeah,
Big up
respect
yourself,
everybody.
Freddy Butler. And Coach Barris. Big up everybody who is involved.
Yeah, man. And Boris is trying to get on, but I have Andre Fortune here online. Welcome, Andre. He's from Trinidad. He had a question earlier, but I didn't get to it. But he's here now, so let's hear from him. Andre. Oh, hold on. Let's see. I don't think he's connected yet. Let me see if I can connect him now. Right. But Coach Barris,
So in the meantime, I'll say this. In the meantime, I'll say this.
Andre, let me see if I hear him. Andre.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. You hear me?
You hearing him, Cranky? Go ahead again. Go ahead, Andre.
Yes. Good night, gentlemen.
Okay, all right. So just hold on a sec. Sorry about that. Cranky was going to make a point, and then you can come in. Go ahead, Cranky.
No, just to close the point on the football. I have a colleague of mine at work. She adopted a couple kids from Haiti. One of them is he's now 13, and he plays travel soccer. He cannot play for his high school team. The team he plays for travel soccer does not allow him to play for his high school team.
Right.
He doesn't play high school football. Yeah. He's a very good player, by the way, but he's not allowed to play high school football.
That maybe
it's interesting.
But the thing though, Crank, is that we don't have a lot of football outside of schoolboy football to facilitate the players anyways. That's the next problem, because the clubs don't play enough football at that level. Maybe in Passau.
Well, no, that's part of the long-term solution, Manning's man. Yeah. Manning's man, that's part of the long-term solution you got to think about. If you're going to progress the football, you need a comprehensive plan that incorporates the ability to get some of the better players who are in academies. You need to expand the whole academy construct, have players in those academies, they can play amongst each other. But that's a much more long-term plan. And you have to get buy-in from other parts of the country because, schoolboy football is like track and field. It's like life and death to some people. So that'll make it interesting.
And that's it. All right.
Different culture,
Andre online.
But go ahead, Andre.
Editor-in-chief has this comment. Let me just read it. He says, schoolboy football.
No, you can forget that one. You can forget that one.
Huh?
You can forget that one for the time being.
The comment on the screen?
Oh, sorry.
No,
sorry,
it says schoolboy football has a different objective. People should stop expecting Issa to do the job of the JFF. It would be nice if both work out something. All right? But Andre, go ahead.
And Cronky kind of said a little bit of what I just wanted to share what I'm hearing. I'm hearing in one sense that schoolboy football, and this again, I'm using schoolboy football because that's what was used, because I think that the problem exists in other places in the Caribbean. Schoolboy football is hurting the development of football. Right? Is that correct? With that being said just now, that the players are not getting enough competitive games, they're blowing teams out.
Yeah.
But I'm also hearing, despite our understanding of that, we've got to hold on to schoolboy football for some reason.
Not we, the powers that be.
but that's what I'm hearing in the conversation, because the guest that you have on, he's making the point about schoolboy football, but he's saying it's a product of schoolboy football, so he really doesn't want to interfere with it. So, and I think in the Caribbean, it happens in Trinidad too. It was a good thing in the past, but now the football has evolved, and you know, we just got to find a different way to get our best players developed, right? And it's happening around the world. What Cronky just said, you know, kids need to be in academies. They need to be at professional football clubs or semi-professional football clubs, as you guys say we have in the Caribbean, so that they can develop and go outside. Right now, Canada, I can show you about a dozen players that Canada has, young players, 16, 17, 18 years old, in professional clubs all over Europe. Okay? That's the future for Canada. They're not in Canada playing. So I think we want to have our cake and eat it at song like. I'll jump off and listen.
All right. Thanks, Andre. All right, see, you hear that comment, Coach Edwards. What say you on that one? The problem exists not just in Jamaica, but probably across the Caribbean. Yeah.
So that means we need to contact the guys who are running CONCACAF then, the region.
But then Cranky makes a point in the comment section. He says, if the JFF creates an alternative and players see the opportunity such alternative provide, then players may not gravitate to schoolboy football. In other words, if we had like what Vancouver had and what Toronto have and what the other team is Vancouver, Toronto, and what's the other? Montreal Impact, right? If you had that and these said players were able to play in an academy competition all year around, maybe like what Cranky is saying, the need to play schoolboy football would not be there. Yeah.
But man, to kind of tap into that still. I don't think people back home ready to invest in that level of commitment. Yeah, they will give you a good talk. But I don't think they're ready for that level, because at that level, it's not just you do it 1 year and then the next year you forgot. No, it's a long-term thing, and this is the difference between, like I said, you see now, Canada has evolved. I want to say they catch up to the Americas and Mexico. They catch up. They caught up, right? The difference between them and us are Canadians and like people who's running football back home. They will lose or not qualify for a World Cup. Let's use now, recent, as an example. If you listen to the Canadian national team head coach, they failed to qualify for the 2018 World Cup just to get to the one at 2022.
Okay.
You see the difference? So his plan was more long-term than short-term.
I see.
So that's the difference. Yeah, I think
yeah.
Most of the time, sorry to cut you off. Even the recent Gold Cup with the national team, like everybody is expecting the team to win that Gold Cup, but they miss the long-term plan that the coach. It's obvious that the coach is showing the general public that the plan that he has, it's long-term. It's obvious.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I'm looking through a coach's lens, so I think my view is a little bit different. But that's all I saw. He's looking for long-term.
So what is, like, on that note, what is the long-term plan for these 12 and 13-year-old that you had the camp with a couple of weeks ago? And how good was the talent that was on display?
The talent that was on display, I would say it was exceptional. If we're gonna scale it from on a 1 to 10 scale, I would say so far I've seen a lot of sevens. You probably have 1 or 2 8s, and I wouldn't want to say 9, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean. It's good talent, but remember, we're only seeing those players that showed. And remember, America is big. We're not talking about Canada yet, and we're not talking about back in Jamaica. We're not talking about in England or the wider world, right? Because I'm sure Jamaicans are all over the place.
You know what? It's fun because you mentioned, I like how you mentioned Canada and you mentioned England, because I think we are growing for the most part. I think more people are coming more around to the idea of having players from England and Canada and Jamaicans, but they live in this era, because a lot of times people complain that, because they quote unquote were rejected by Canada or America or by England, why they come to Jamaica. So how important then is it that we begin to do these things this early to kind of put aside that notion that these players were just waiting until they were probably called elsewhere, and if not, they come to Jamaica? How important it is to see them at under 12 and under 13 and under 14 and under 15 coming out and saying, I want to play for Jamaica, and I'm making that decision right now.
Well, you see, until as a national federation, until they start present that professional approach on the forefront of everyone, yeah, you don't have to ask players to come; they'll come, because that's all they want. Yeah? They want to be in an environment where they know they're being treated well and they're not being treated unfairly. That's all. Like I said, I was a product of. I am a product of the system, and I've experienced a lot, both good and bad. But I am not going to sit here and tell you that it was all good, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it was all bad. But whatever situation I experienced while I was there, it set me up now so that I can prepare the players who I have in my care to not go through that situation.
Yeah. I see Marlon, who well traveled, he says Costa Rica, Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, Nicaragua, Panama, they all have a club under 17, under 20 competition, and they keep national under 15 camps. That's what we're talking about. Yeah. Coach Boris, I don't know what is wrong with Coach Boris. Let me call him, because I send him the link on his phone. Him say want it in the comment section. I put it in the comment section, and him still don't. And I don't understand. Let me call him and ask him, because
so why management is calling Coach Edwards?
Yeah, yes, that.
Coach Edwards, management question for you. There's been a lot of discussion in these forums about the level of coaching in Jamaica and the qualification of the coaches and the license or lack thereof for those coaches. What's your perspective on that? And that contributes to the lack of the development of players to get to the level they need to get to. What's your view on that? I'm putting you on the spot, by the way.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Nothing is wrong with putting me on the spot. I can stand on my feet. If you know of me, Stan, before tonight, and you watch any interview that I've done in the past, I'm a major advocate for coaching education, because again, the person who you see sitting on this screen right now, without that information or that kind of experience or that mentorship, I wouldn't be able to sit here in front of you and tell you the importance of coaching education. My thing is, as a Jamaican, and I'm going to call it blunt or call a spade, we think we know too much. That's the problem. We think we know everything about the game. We know too much. Exactly. We think we know too much.
Oh, you
Like,
think
let
we
me
know
give you
everything?
let me give you a perfect example. And again, me just a call a spade, because that's who I am and that's what I stand for. You see, if a Freddie Butler go back to Jamaica and hosting a camp that he's running a session, you know, I can probably stick my neck out on a block to say probably not one coach will show up and watch his training session. You know why? Because it's Freddie Butler. Yeah, man, them know Freddie and he used to play. Man, they're not good. And then man, they know about coaching. That's how we are. Now, I can tell you what I've learned over 3 days. 3 days. It was an eye opener for me. And I can tell you, like, I'm highly respected in Canada as a coach. Highly, highly respected. And you hear how I sound excited about what I learned over those couple days. Yeah,
Yeah.
man. We need more coaches start having an open mind and willing to learn, and just they need to just be a little bit more humble or show a little bit more humility, because we don't know everything. And it doesn't matter who the message is coming from, you still can learn something.
Yeah.
Mm.
Anyway, let me give you the coaches in Jamaica respond right now. Yo, through them and they are friend them and they are go on someone. Whatever.
I,
I'm not him for the thing. Him dey on YouTube or talk something on YouTube coaches. I
yeah.
come run a side out of this and say every day my team no beat him. The man
And,
know football.
and man, hear this now. Hear this. I may be able to coach a team against their team and they beat me 4 or 5. But guess what? They play zero football. Them score 4 goals and them play zero football. But my team is the one that you can clearly see that have a structure, have a system of play. And we have a method that we want to use, regardless of the scoreline.
Yeah.
That's the problem. The ego. The ego is the big problem, man. Too much ego.
Yeah. I see.
Everybody know.
Well, I think
Yeah.
But
the ego is innate and it's from birth, so we have to figure out to work around the ego because the ego will not change. The ego, that ego will not change. We have to figure out to work with the ego and achieve the objective we're trying to achieve. Because
Yeah.
we don't know that ego's not change.
And, but
but
Stan, did I
short man.
Stan? Hold on, Devon. Stan, I hope I answered your question.
Yes, you did. You did answer it. Yes.
Okay, all right.
Go ahead, Mr. Port, and then
Yeah,
Badger to find out
short
what
man. I
it
wonder how many people understand what you just said. You know,
was.
even though they probably beat you 4-0 or 2-0, you know, people might think that then why would you say you play good football if they beat you? You know, because they don't understand what you're trying to achieve and the long-term goal.
Devon, you have to understand. You have some people. Some people listen with understanding, and some people listen to respond. There's a massive difference. So I'm happy that you understood what I just said. I guarantee you, when management post this, you're gonna hear some people have beat me, but it's fine.
Yeah, but
Yes.
the truth is, it is a concern, and I've seen it. I've seen even on this platform, I've held things with coaches, Swedish persons from who share the wealth of knowledge, but the coaches, I think they really believe like they are already there and they have it. And fine, I will, I will fine, but doing it in Jamaica in our league is not the true test of your quality. It is when you go into other environments, because the real truth is if we were as good as we believe that we are, then more of us would be in Central and North America coaching. That is the truth, right? We would be exporting more coaches if we were developing players with the requisite talent and skills and tactical and technical awareness to play big time. And at some point, I think all of us need to sit down and say, we need to learn. And I think the JFF are doing a good job with this whole coaching education. And it needs to continue. Because I also believe that some of them need to go and operate in some internship in some other environments, because we are not preparing players to play in Jamaica. We are preparing them to play in Europe and to play in North America. So maybe we need to spend some time in the environment that we are preparing players for, so we can see what is needed in those environments from a coaching perspective, not just what we see on the field, but how do they prepare the players in training for the games, so we can learn those things and bring them back to Jamaica to begin prepare the players the way we ought to prepare them. So when they go overseas, they don't come back because they're exactly.
My name's man. I think you missed that part when it talking about coaches going to Central America and Europe and all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have to be qualified too. So just
well, definitely.
Don't forget that. Don't forget that part, man. Yeah, man.
That is true.
Some of the man we play the game. They have zero interest in wanting to go get themselves licensed, because without that paperwork, then nobody now look on you.
No, Rob Smith, right? I don't think the general Rob Smith. I will tell you this, Rob Smith. While you say that Coach Garden is learning from, and I'll give you that, and I don't think anyone is saying that there is not one coach that is willing to learn. The bigger issue is this, Rob Smith. Is it that they want to learn, or they wanted the job, and because they get the job, they have to learn on the job? Or did they take it because, listen, I want to learn and be better? There's a difference. In other words, if I am employed as an assistant coach, am I taking it because I want to learn, or because I'm getting a job? Because when Shortman went to the camp, he went there to learn, not to get a job. So I think while I understand what you're saying, Rob, I can't agree with you, because I can tell you this. You, Rob, call any of those coaches right now that you are mentioning. They are not going to listen to you. You, Rob Smith, cannot tell them anything. That is what we are saying. You can't tell them anything, because they're going to ask you, who are you? And that is an issue. And I think Shortman said it. Sometimes it's not the messenger, it is the message. So while we may not be generalizing, it's really a general concept that a lot of us in Jamaica believe that we know the game to a certain level, so nobody can tell me nothing. In fact, we want to go up against Marino so we can beat him team, because we believe so them and they can't coach like we. We want to go up against Pep because Pep can coach. Make Pep come play against my team down at Jamaica, say we're gonna beat that. And you may win the game.
But man, another funny thing, you mentioned Pep as an example, and if you hear the story of Pep, when he took a time from Barcelona, how much he traveled to go just learn more football in general. The discussions we've had all day with Bielsa, he's traveled to South America for different coaches, see how people play differently. Because that's why he's viewed as an innovator, because he's taking information from so many different sources and figuring out how to change the game. And football is not the most innovative game, to be frank, because most people do the same thing over and over again. And that's why what he seems so revolutionary, because he's, as you learn in the corporate environment, they say this is, which is diverse team does better than teams which are more monolithic, right? Than less diverse teams. When you have diversity of thought and you can experiment and you can be innovative, you'll be surprised what you can get out of it. But you need information. You need to be able to go out and get the information and see how people think differently. Then you can incorporate into your methodology and your process and figure out how you want to play, what style you want to employ, and how what you have learned is going to inform that. That's very, very important.
Yeah,
And that's not only
exactly.
about football, it's about life in general.
Yeah, so my thing is not to just be around Coach Al Grimson to learn. Spend some money and go to Europe. Get connected. You understand? Go in different spaces and learn. That is proof to me that you want to learn. Not because you get an assistant job with the national team or with the under 17 and under 20. That is still not enough. Do like Pep. Exactly, Cranky. Go to South America. Go to those places. Learn different things. That is how you improve. I mean, some coaches have done it, so others need to do it as well. But I mean, there is a Canadian, Jamaican Canadian here asking when are the camps going to be held in Toronto? I don't know, Coach Barris. I call Coach Barris. I send him the link. Him listening. Him answer it in the comment section, and he's not coming on to the show. But go ahead. You want to take that one? When is it going to Canada? In Toronto. You make sure I'm telling you where it's supposed to be. You know, right?
Who said that, Ricardo?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be a part of our discussion the next time the coaching staff have a meeting. Because to be honest, I've been batting to get something here, just to see the talent pool on this side of North America, because I've witnessed it for the past 10 years, the amount of talented players that is developing in Canada. So it would be nice for us to have something relatively Jamaican here to see, the talent pool. And I'm talking about right across all age groups.
Yeah. All right.
So coach, should we be taking this show on the road? Because we have it in Florida, which is down south. Wait, we have it in Florida, which is down south. Because Canada is just another state, Canada is like the 51st state. So if you go have the state of Canada, we should be having the state of the tri-state area in the Atlanta region, because a lot of kids can't afford to travel to Florida. I mean, I didn't know about this camp, but we'll be very, very good players. So I think going forward, there should be a thought process around how can you take this show on the road, basically.
Yeah, but at the same time, Stan, we still don't want to forget the roots, which is back in Jamaica. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, training camps need to be held back home as well, so we can see that talent pool. Even though you have man like management there seeing it day in, day out. But, like for whatever coach that will be, the head coach of the team, they need to have that, option as well to see, because at the end of the day, we're talking about Jamaica and a global spectrum. So.
Yeah. Coach Barris, I don't see any. You were also at the camp. One of the parent, I think one of the person at the camp trying to figure out what kind of accent you were using. Where are you, Coach?
Man is one. Even me, like, I was wondering what kind of accent, but
I'll find out which one of the accent we're gonna use tonight. I don't know. Coach Barris, where are you? You need to come and sing. But Frankie, there are plans to take it. I think there are plans to take it into New York, because, like I said, right there in New York, New Jersey, right in that little area, you have even Philadelphia. You have that whole era right there. Is I think is an era where, especially New York, we have lots and lots of talent as well. But I know there were a couple of kids. There was a good talent from New York that was at the camp. I know there was a kid also from outside of Texas. The people from Atlanta. There was one from Atlanta. Coach Barris, welcome. Good night, man. Been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while, man. Good night, and good night to the panel. Good night, Sir Richard Edwards.
Good night, DJ.
They're trying to figure out.
Good night to Sir Frankie.
No, he's not called. Why you keep calling him Frankie?
Good night.
I think I keep on mixing up I think I keep on mixing up his name or the pronunciation. Maybe you can correct me tonight. Again, what's his name is?
Just call him Stan. Just call him Stan. You can't mess up that one. Forget about Cranky. No, forget about Cranky. Just say Stan.
All right, Sir Stan. Sir Stan.
All right, good night. Good night.
Yeah, good night, Sir Stan.
Yeah, man. But talk to us. You were at the camp. This is the second one for you. You did the
Yeah, I was there with
U15.
Yeah, with U15. First of all, let me say kudos to Freddy and yourself and Kerry James.
The accent chipping in right now.
And Backled to extent, and to all the guys that had this vision to see this as something that fit in terms of not only helping but assist with our program and the development of our players, whether local, whether overseas, wherever they are in the diaspora. I think it's the vision is very important, and I think it's very good that we had started the mission. And the good thing about it, we are getting a lot of guys with a lot of knowledge for the game, good resources on board. So let me say kudos to that, to everybody. Pertaining to the camp on the weekend, I think it was very good. And it was time well spent with the boys.
Barrett, why are you rolling on your tongue? Very good.
I'm trying to have the wider audience, trying to have an understanding of what I'm saying, because if I go Jamaican, then only you guys will understand. So I'm trying to speak the language that everybody can meet me in the middle in terms of understanding what I'm trying to say. Okay? I don't want to go Spanish or French because the English is going to complain again.
Continue.
So let me stick to that. Okay? But what I'm saying, so far, I think the camps are very successful in terms of what we're trying to do, not as coaches, but in terms of, I think the broader picture is looking at trying to get the best players in terms of putting them together for the Youth 17 so we can make it to that World Cup. I think it's very good we can use at least 1 year or within a year to scout the players, and then we can use the following year in terms of preparing for the tournament and for game play, which is, I think, is a very smart move in terms of the vision that Freddy, those other guys have. I think I pretty much support it, and I'm willing to lend off my time. That's why I'm at the camps. But when you look at the two camps we did so far, I mean, it's an abundant in terms of talent. And we are not just talking about ordinary talents. Because understand the game, we're looking at the game in terms of the four phase from a technical point of view, a little bit of tactical, from a physical, and from a psychological point of view. I mean, when you look at these kids, I mean, I would give them the kudos to say they're over the edge, not because of the level of coaches they are open to or have the ability to be at, but in terms of the consistency, in terms of how they practice, the intensity they practice with, the level of the practice, and even just to correct the faults in the practice. I mean, some of the factors that we look at in terms of is their first touch, and it's just not first touch on the ground, but first touch receiving a ball in the air. We try to look at how they run with the ball in terms of how they dribble the ball. We try to look at their tactical awareness in terms of how they scan to see where pressure is in terms of where they play the first touch. We look at the passing side of it. We didn't get into much in terms of a tactical. I mean, we asked them to do a little bit in terms of 11v11, which was good. Based on the physical side of it, we see a lot of speed. We see a lot of kids that's very strong, good endurance. When you look at some of them muscle structures at 15 and 11 years old, it speaks volume. And then we look at the psychological part. I think Shortman will tell you I'm not one of the coaches that going to play easy on you in terms of a warm-up. The warm-up was pretty gear like a professional warm-up. We'd go for 20, 30 minutes. And that the extra time was just to test the psychology part of them in terms of their mental toughness. I think the kids, they do fantastic with it. And I must say, he was very consistent in terms of them trying to do most of the right things at the right time. I mean, when you ask them in terms of correcting the body shape just to receive a pass and see how they brought it over into the 11v11, then I must say it's kudos. I should elaborate though, management, based on the discussion before in terms of development. And I think this is where the problem we're going.
Let me just highlight Coach Freddy Butler. Sorry, let me just highlight Coach Freddy Butler just joined the chat. Big up yourself.
Yeah, big up to the gaffer.
Big up, boss.
I must say, management, there's a lot in terms of player development. And it's not just looking at a player from a technical point of view, from a tactical point of view, from a physical point of view or a psychological point of view. There's a thing that we call ADP, which is the athletic development side. And there's IDP, which is the individual development, because as you know, every player develops pretty much different in terms of their growth spurt and all that. So these are factors that we try to look at to get it right within 1 year, 2 years plans, so they can basically, I think it's good, as I said, what Freddy has started and the rest of guys in terms of the vision, because it's very good when you can use a year to scout the talent and then you use the following year in terms of just preparing for competition. That would be ample time for me. I think you would love 4 or 5 years, but the reality of where we sit in terms of what is it the federation can afford, what is it the federation cannot do, and the time factors of some of these coaches, I think it's a good so far in terms of going forward.
All right, we have a call online. He was at the camp. I think this is Sheldon. Welcome to the show, Sheldon.
Yeah, man. What's going on, man? Big up everybody.
Yeah, man. You're at the camp.
Barris.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. I was at the camp. Yeah, man. I must say, yeah, man. I was there. I must say, listen, you know, you guys did a fantastic job. It was a great experience. Shortman, big up yourself.
Listen up,
Yeah, man. Freddy as well in the chat. You know, it was, trust me, it was an experience, and it's something that, you know, it's a good thing for the country and the development of the youngsters. I see a lot of talent, and without this camp, we would not ever discover these talents. You know what I'm saying? So it's a good thing, and you know, everybody in South Florida, everybody just need to come together and just, you know, try to give a helping hand in the next one, because this is something good. This is good.
Yeah. I need to let people know this as well, that this is not funded by the like the Jamaica Football Federation. I mean, these guys, they travel to wherever they stay in hotels, all of those stuff. You understand me? And it takes resources to do that. So a lot of this is just the group coming together to make sure that all the necessary things are provided there. It is endorsed by the GFF, but financially it is not being funded by them, which is the next big aspect of this whole thing as well, that it is happening without funding. So just imagine if financial resources were able to be pumped into it, how much more of an impact it could have. But anything else you want to add, Sheldon, or that's it?
Yeah, man, not just people from South Florida, but you know, everybody in the diaspora. This is something that, you know, we all have to come together and just continue doing this. You see what they you know, the boys over there in the DR doing, and you know, some of them, they were discovered at camps like these. So you know, it is a good thing for the youngsters and also for the development of the footballers.
Yeah, and two of the players,
you know, so
two of the players at the U15, Cadriano Marsh, who plays in the number 11, and the center back McLean, though he didn't come, I think he came to the first camp. They were part of, two of those players made the U15 team and they're starters, and they have looked good. as well. So it is working, you know. So that those two, Kadri and Marsh, I know for sure he's a part of the team and they have looked well. So this is it's really a good thing.
Yeah, man. And according to what Shortman said and Boris, we've seen some talents, some real talents, you know. So we just want to keep a dialogue with them and continue this. And we still have more kids that will come out in the next camp. So this is a process and we just have to continue. By the way, I'm DJ Benito. So
yeah, man, I know, man. I know, man. No, man, I know it's DJ Benito.
Big up.
Yeah, man, definitely.
All right, that's one.
All right,
Short, man.
All right, bless up, Sheldon.
Yeah, man. All right, bless up. Yeah, man. All right, Cranky, you have any question? You want to shoot some question at Barry, seeing that he was talking about the developmental side. I think he is more on your side of the argument about, because he's always spoken about the need to reformat development in Jamaica. And I think his move is at the expense of schoolboy football. So don't know if you have any questions you want to shoot at him.
Well, my first question is I couldn't figure out where he was from. I was figuring, is he African or Eastern Caribbean? No, I'm not joking. Actually, I couldn't make out the accent. Is he Jamaican? Because Boris, are you Jamaican? I'm not
Frankie.
joking. This is not being fun.
That's Frankie. That's Frankie Boris.
I must say this. I'm going to say this for the wider audience because a lot of people like yourself trying to figure out the same thing. But the reality of it, Frankie, I was born and raised.
No, it's Stan. It's Stan, not Frankie. I'm just kidding. His name is Stan.
I mean Stan. I was born and raised in Kingston, Jamaica. Grew up in Waterhouse. But you know the factor in terms of I had the chance to study in the United States, and when you're amongst guys from Liberia, you're among guys from Cameroon, you're among guys from Kenya, from England, Denmark, Sweden, players from the United States. I mean, when you get into that situation that you start having these guys as member of the team, I think there's something that will rub off in common, and I think the language is what will rub off for something. I'm not sure. So I think that's being around those guys.
That's a great
yeah, let me blame it on that. I think that's to be blamed for Stan. That's to be blamed.
No, it seemed that learned language. It's hard to just. If you've been around people, I can understand, but when you go back to your environment, you normally just revert. You will have so it's probably a good thing. I don't know. I haven't learned that. But
I think
what are your thoughts on what Manning said about the development? Yeah, apparently. What are the thoughts about what Manning was alluding to, which is
Cranky, you're breaking up.
I'm breaking
We're not hearing
up. I never changed location now because for some reason. Yeah. Let me change. I was watching the game and I'm like, you might not move. I was watching the game at the same time, trying to multitask. So you have me moving. Okay.
Well, Spain leading, Holland leading Spain by a goal to nil.
No, it's tied. It's tied.
1-1. 1-1.
It's tied at 1.
1-1.
You're behind. You're behind. But you can't multitask. But anyway. And I can't really understand your minds, man. You're sounding African. But anyway.
Big in the chat. Big baller from long time. But go ahead, get to the development.
So, Coach, what's your views on? Because we had a discussion earlier about. Yeah, the question is about how we ensure that the kids in Jamaica get the right coaching to advance their football acumen. How do we ensure? How do we change what we see happening in Jamaica, which is, at least from where I sit, which is we don't have enough kids coming through with the ability that we know they probably possess at an early age, and they don't matriculate to the more senior level at the same progression rate as maybe in other countries, probably more developed countries actually. So what do we do? What do we do to change that?
I mean, it's very easy, Frankie. I mean, Stan. I mean, I have sit on platform and we have this discussion over and over. I mean, first, I think one of the biggest problem we do not understand is that the football and the development of young players of different stages. Now, when you look at what happening from 7, let's use 7 to 9 as the basic school era. There's not much being done at 7 to 9 or to 10 in terms of what you call early introduction to the sports. I mean, a lot of academy now in Jamaica is trying to do that, where they're trying to facilitate that. However, when you look at how it is structured, I mean, we are asking 7v7, are they playing on the right surface in terms of the measurement of the surface? Are they using the right football? So the biggest problem, and I see, and we have the discussion over and over, I think one of the things is we're not looking at the stages in terms of the players and what they need in terms of to move from one stage to the other. Now, I can't have a 7-year-old that came for basic introduction, but yet still I'm trying to pour tactics into him. You see what happened? So I think one of the biggest problems, there's no pathway and there's no methodology. So why you find everybody's just pretty much doing what they think is right and what they think can work. Now, the reality of it, you'll find, and I hear people say this all the while, we have players from 13-year-old to 15 that can compete with the rest of the world. Yeah, fine. But when you look at the reality in terms of the intensity, moving from 15 to say probably 23, there's where we have the problem. And this is why, because gone are the days when we play under 21 football. We don't play that no more at the club level, because people now saying that if you're 17 and can't play in the Premier League, then you're not a good player. Now, why is it England do have under 21 league? We have to look at those factors. Now, nothing wrong with schoolboy football. But when you look at the gap again, what is it they transition into from schoolboy? You're talking about going straight to clubs. You see, now the higher you go, and you will know the stand, the higher you go is the faster the game. The workload is different. So there's a lot of factor inside there. The training sessions are structured different. Let's look at a college, which is probably the closest to a professional level. They have to train, then they have to go lift, probably after a training session. Then they probably have to go and sit down in a game analysis session. They have to go sit in a nutrition session. They have to sit to learn how to rehydrate themselves properly. So these are some of the factors that really affecting us. So why you find a good kid play well in the Manning Cup, but doesn't went off to college and decide to go straight to the Premier League. Why you find it's not his ability to play or coaches doing the wrong thing, but why you find most of the time is their muscle structure in terms of the workload at the Premier League level. They just can't manage. And the way where you find most of the time, there's the breakdown. Look at all the players that came over for overseas. They're not sent back because they can't play the game. They're not sent back because tactically they don't understand the game. They sent back because when the intensity of the training and the training load is what start to create the factors. So why you find they're the quickest to be injured. And the moment you start injured and can't play, then every club is going to seek replacement. So I think the biggest factor is, can we look at the development at different stages to see what is needed and what needs to be provided. Schoolboy football is doing a fantastic job, but we should sit and ask ourselves, is schoolboy football enough? And everybody will tell you no. You see, the culture shaped everything. Gone are the days that you have the minor league. You could move from a minor league to go play in a corner league. You could play unconstructed football in the street, which helped to develop some of the basic skills. Those days are over. So we have to sit as a federation, as coaches, to come together to see how best we can put everything together in order to restructure what's happening, because it's a new world we're in. There's technology involved. The game is playing faster. The game is playing on different surfaces. So we have to sit, garner all that information, all the discussion, and see how best we can process it. Now, I can't tell you that Jamaica will get the best facilities like what in England. From where we sit from a financial point of view, it's not realistic. But it doesn't mean we can't have the same level of preparation. Now, from a coaching standpoint, coaches have to understand that the game changed within a second. And there's specific situation in the game that I don't think we're paying enough emphasis in terms of in Jamaica. I don't think we pay enough emphasis on the first touch, away from pressure. I don't think we pay enough emphasis in terms of just a simple body shape to receive a pass to play forward. I don't think we pay enough emphasis in terms of how we striking the ball, whether to make a long pass or a short pass or to finish on goal. I don't think we pay enough emphasis in terms of how we support, the angle we support, the distance, and the timing. So these are basic stuff that, from a coaching point of view, I think we have to sit, have the discussion, and understand if we really going to give ourselves a good chance in terms of producing a good player or consistently playing on the world level.
Yeah.
So here's a follow-up question to that question. So here's a follow-up question, actually, which is, you have taken the program on the road in terms of identifying talent, trying to coach the talent and help the talent. Part of the objective is to get them to the national program. Do we have the same idea about coaching, which is taking the coaching on the road, and probably having sessions in Jamaica, not just with the kids, but with the coaches? Have we thought about that also? Because Coach Edwards mentioned in the 3 days in Florida, even though he's well respected in Canada, he learned a lot.
It's and I must say this, Frankie, it's not about
Stan.
Just the players. I mean, Stan. Sorry about that, Stan. Let me say this. In any organization and any smart organization where football is concerned, they will know that coaching education is one of the biggest factors. And when I say the biggest factor, we're talking about coaching the modern game. I'm not talking about the game in 1994 or the game in 1990 or 89. If you look at certain instances of the game today, the game has changed. Next year, it will change again. The game gradually is getting faster. Now, look at it from this point of view. Everybody is trying to press you. Now, are we preparing players that can play out of pressure? Are we preparing players that can play within a situation where they're under pressure? So gone are the days when we are looking for a player that just can dribble the ball well, pass the ball well. Now, if that's what we're looking for and if that's what we're coaching, then these are the factors that we need to fix. Now, coaching education is very important because what happened, there's new knowledge, there's new in terms of software from a technical point of view, in terms of where the game is going. So, I mean, if I'm going to sit here and tell you that finding the players, scouting the talent will be enough, it won't. It won't, because here's what's going to happen. Richard can tell you from his point of view, very good player in his time, very good as a coach, very experienced, but he can tell you he has learned a lot within the 3 days that he's been amongst us. You see, and it's going to be the same thing for everybody, because we have to look at it from a point of view to say, you know what? This is where we're looking at in terms of players. And this is where I'm saying the JFF have to sit and have the dialogue. We need to know as coaches, what is it and what type of players are you looking for to fit in what type of system? So everybody pretty much from 7 years old all the way up to a senior level can now prepare and start preparing and planning for that. If you don't know, then basically everybody again going to do what they think is best. But what is best doesn't mean that it's coming or it's overlapping into what you're trying to do. So I think that's one of the situations. Until we see a blueprint to say, you know what, we're looking for a guy that's 6'2" to play a central defender. This is the characteristic that we're looking for. Then we're gonna still have the problem over and over. And I think that's one of the biggest problems we have. Because there's no pathway, there's no methodology, everybody's trying to do the best they can, but it's not adding up. Because understand, tactics alone, Stan, and you should know this, tactics alone is a collective effort, whether attacking or defending.
All right, let me ask this, because one of the important things, because I think what I think next time you guys meet, maybe, and this would tie into what Stan is saying, could you invite like one of these, let them find their way, hopefully, but invite them to be a part of this environment, one of the coaches in Jamaica who are presently coaching in the youth system in Jamaica, to come and see how you run this camp and these sessions. So like Richard Edwards and like when I was there and others, they can learn. So when they come back to Jamaica, they can start implementing some of those things. Because
I don't cut you, management. But here's the problem.
You cut me still.
No, sorry. I just want you to say this. I don't think if myself have the time, I don't think if Freddy have the time, I don't think if Buckler have the time, Richard have the time, I don't think if any of these guys have the time, they wouldn't put themselves in a situation to get on the island to try and help. That's what I'm saying. But here's the problem. We can come and say, you know what, Stan, this is the way we do things. This is the way we want you to do things. And this is coming from the school. I mean, everybody go to the coaching courses. Now, how much of the coaches that go to the coaching courses do we sit, watch a session, watch how they deliver the session, and see if they're on the same page as to what they learn at the school? Now, we can come and say this is how we do things. But when you get back to Jamaica, who is there to supervise to say, you know what, you can't do that because that's not how they do things? And I think that's one of the biggest problems. Everybody has to come with a growth mindset, get on the same platform, and we move together as a group.
Barris,
so here's the point I want to make actually. So why can't you have sorry, I know Richard, I know you have to talk for a while. I'm gonna give you 1 second. Richard, I know you have to talk for a while.
I wanted to get a point across. No, go through. Like,
go ahead, Richard.
No, I'll wait.
No, man, go ahead.
The point I want to make is this. We have talked about building affiliations with Qatar and Saudi Arabia to get some money. Let's go to where I'm going with this. We have talked about, we have an association between academies in the UK and Jamaica, for example. Why can't your organization build an affiliation with maybe an academy in Jamaica or something in Jamaica to allow that connectivity to occur and the sharing of personnel and information and whatever you want to share? Why can't you do something like that going forward?
But Stan, if I may say something, Barris.
Barris, you're on mute.
Yeah, you're muted, Coach Barris.
Barris, you're on mute.
But no, what I'm saying.
Hold on, go ahead.
And let me speak on behalf of IMG, because I'm at IMG. Now, IMG is willing to say, invite coaches over. Now, here's the problem with that. You will come at IMG and you will see a level of facilities that's just not in Jamaica. You see, so my thing is, can we go over there? Can we go on the island to say, you know what? The resources that you have, let's see how best we can use it to achieve what you want to achieve. Because it plays the tricky factors. Because I hear people complain about we don't have good fields in Jamaica. We had the same fields or worse to play and to qualify for 98. You see what happened? Now, I would think, from my point of view, and this is my opinion, I would think the fields are much better now than back then. And to make things worse, we have more playing surface. So this argument about the facilities and about this, yeah, it's a one-off. It's a one-off. But people are trying to make the comparison based on what they see outside. Now, there's two things in life for me. There's perception and there's the reality. I think we need to look at the reality a little bit more. Forming a relationship is no problem. It's no problem. I would just suggest everybody come with a growth mindset, have the dialogue, have the discussion. You won't know this, Stan. You won't know this. But I was a part of a group, Global Soccer Ministry, led by Paul Banta. Now, I was surprised when I came to Paul Banta camp to do Paul Banta camp in 2000. Why? There were guys that were UEFA instructors. There were guys that coach at Liverpool. There were guys that coach at Glasgow Rangers. There were guys that coach at Celtics. There were guys that coach at Everton. Now, when I sit with these guys, one of the first things, how can we help Jamaica? I said, you guys can, because the level of knowledge you guys can impart in terms of to shape the football going forward is not a problem. You know what happened? We went to the federation. I mean, it was different people at the time to say, you know what? Here's the situation. There's a bunch of guys on this side that we work with that would love to come and help. Now, nobody at the time see fit to say, you know what? Let's have them over. Let's see what can be done and let's see what direction it goes. Now, I can tell you this. These are not guys that are going to sit and wait on you for a call to say, you know what? Come and help Jamaica's football. They're not. These are guys that within a short window, they have to be on their way to Norway. They have to be on their way to Sweden. They have to be on their way to Spain. So we have to understand that. And I think when these guys come over personally to visit and people see them on the island, the first question they ask, how you get the Glasgow Ranger goalkeeper coach to come in Jamaica? I don't have to get him to come to Jamaica. It's a good friend of mine. He comes to visit, and while he's there, he can spend some time with the football. It's as easy as that. Nobody asking you to foot a bill. So they have to understand the situation and how it works. I mean, we can't just find people to say, you know what, come and help with the football. We have tried it before, where we have people come over to do coaching education. Anybody on the platform that remember listening, they can share with you. At one time, we have like 82 coaches.
All right, yeah, man. Hold on, Boris. Let me get Shortman, because I know he was saying something and I don't want him to forget the point that he was making. So he wanted to interject. So go ahead, Coach Edwards.
No, man. What I was about to say is that it's funny. During my time playing, I used to have training sessions where the topic is probably like 10 different things in the one session. But now I am on the other side of the fence and I understand the organization and the structure of coaching. Management, believe me, as some blind man, we didn't have a teacher football, Trust me. This is not to knock any coach, but I'm just saying, Boris can understand more about what I am saying. When you have a structure, for example, let's say the topic or the theme is possession. Management, the moment you go off topic, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
You're in trouble because in that sense, you're sending mixed messages to the players. And that's what we had to deal with. And I'm sure other kids now going through that, but they don't know better. To elaborate on the point that Boris was saying earlier, I think, again, on a larger scale, the federation needs to have a method that they want to use as a nation. I'm not saying that they have to push the needle a bit right across the board for all the clubs to follow, but it would be nice for all the clubs to follow. Hence, why you see a country like Belgium. You see how many players Belgium like put out in the world scene for the past 15 to 20 years.
Yeah.
Because they had that national structure where all the clubs follow. And it's easier for you to scout a player for specific position. To again elaborate on Morris's point with the IDP, the individual development plan. If you're playing a 4-3-3 system and you're looking for a 7 and 11, they don't have to go search all over the place to find a 7 and 11. You will know exactly which player fits that profile.
Yeah, it's just like our new head coach. He gave some things that he says he's looking for. He listed 5 things that in building his team over time he's going to look for. And you can tell something like any winger who is going to play will have to be two-sided.
Offensive and defensively.
Yeah, in other words, at some point, for example, say at Demar Gray or Leon Bailey, if there is an high quality winger who provides defense, because those are some of his principles, which governs now how you recruit. And if you go to the session and you watch how the team is prepared session after session, like I said, there's a consistency in the practices because it is the same principles. The same principles are governed. So it is not 100 things or these things this time. It's 5 principles. And every training session, the 5 fundamental principles are what you're going to deal with.
Yeah.
And everybody needs to. So at the end of everything, everybody kind of know.
What is to come?
What is to come? Yeah. For crazy, let me just say this: Crazy RTV. There is the code for the I Am Sure Sports Fantasy Premier League. If you want to join it, it's auto join. There is the code as well, MC5MOE. If you want to participate in the I Am Sure Sports Fantasy League. All right. So try again. Yeah. But we have around 30 minutes to go. Mr. Porter, you have been silent in all of this. I don't know, if you are learning. Or
Yeah, I was just listening to Coach Boris.
Yeah.
And we are students of the game, and we can learn from anybody. And I think he's knowledgeable enough. I mean, the way he put what they're doing is easy to understand from a coach's perspective. But there's one thing that he says that really, really opened my eyes, is that yes, you can go into Jamaica and run clinics for the coaches, and you can bring them over, into your system. But are they willing to go back and implement what they have learned, and impart the knowledge to the player, instead of going off board and go back to the same old way that they used to do things? And that's very important.
Yeah, I think it's important. Like there is the consistent evaluation and thing. But like I said, we have 12 minutes to go before we wrap up. So I'm going to go around. So if you go, like each of you, 2 minutes to share your thought and your closing thoughts. So let's go with Cranky, and maybe he can give us an update on the game as well.
No, I had to change location, so I have no idea how the game is going because my feed was going right.
The game is in extra time. It's 1-1.
So I'll just say this: it's encouraging to see that we're doing things on different fronts, for different reasons. Some of it is to help the national program. I do think sometimes, though, national associations can be a barrier to success, frankly, and can be an obstacle to success. And sometimes you have to work around them. I'm not talking about the JFF, I'm just saying in general. So I would encourage those who are involved in the football, whether it's a coaching level or otherwise, to probably find ways to have these associations that can create an environment where the football can foster and grow. Because the goal is to develop those kids to adulthood and for them to maximize their potential. And I do think we have enough raw talent, whether across the globe, because I'm always saying Jamaica is not the 144 by 40 plus that we have there. Jamaica is now a global country in terms of the composition of where its people reside. And we need to leverage that global way in terms of where we reside, where we are, how we are, the learnings we have had, and put it in that melting pot and let it boil up and utilize it to advance ourselves as a country, as a people. And sports is one mechanism and one environment to do so. And people like Coach Edwards and Coach Johnson can help as it relates to football to progress the football initiative. So kudos to you, sirs.
Thanks, Stan.
Yeah,
Thank
man.
you.
All right, that's cranky. Mr. Porter, your 2 minutes begin now. Look like we have lost Mr. Porter, or he's muted.
Can you hear me now, man?
Yeah, we are hearing you now.
You know, I just want to tell the guys, I mean, continue doing what they're doing, you know, and if and when they come to this side of the world, I mean, I'll be happy to be with them, join them to see exactly what they're doing. I mean, I'm pretty much sure I will learn a few things from them, you know, and that will also help me in what I'm doing with football over here, you know. So I mean, wish them all the best, and at some point in time, who knows? You know, I might be able to join them or help them with whatever they're doing.
All right, all right. So,
Thank you, Mr. Porter.
yeah, man. All right, Mr. Porter, respect. All right, Coach
Yeah, man.
Boris, your 2 minutes.
My 2 minutes. Again, I just want to say thanks to Freddy and all the guys, Coach Edwards, Coach Buckland, those guys, Kerry James. I just really appreciate the vision they have. I mean, I can remember the last time we had visualized something like this. It had put us into the U17, the last U17 World Cup that we had played in. So I'm just looking forward to it. And I would say that our objective, our aim is not to bring anybody or show anybody to the forefront, but to try and help the football. Because, I mean, management, I would sit here and lie to tell you that football do nothing for me. I would sit here and lie. I mean, I would love to pay back the JFF for all that I've gotten while playing and some of the knowledge that I've gotten sitting in their own coaching courses. But I can't do it by cash. That's just the reality of it. I would like to give you guys 60 million or whatever it needs to run the federation. But we don't have that. So maybe we can do that in terms of the knowledge that we have gained. Because we were mentored by some of the best in Jamaica. You're talking about the Vin Blaine, the Bradley Stewart, the Frank Brown, the Flaycroft, the Jeffrey Maxwell, and we can go on and on. So I think it's not only give back, but I think we see it as our responsibility to try and help to fix the football. And we have asked ourselves, why is it we can't get back on all the world stages? And so far, we can't find an answer to say we can't. So the reality of it, we should be there every time. And this is what we're striving for. So we just hope that everybody comes with a growth mindset for what we're doing. And we appreciate the time because, you know, from day one, we like to be out in the sun. And it's even more kudos being together as past players, trying to share a bit of knowledge that we have. And not only knowledge, but the present game and where it's going. And we're just looking for a brighter future in terms of the kids so that they can excel on the highest level or the world stage, wherever the platform is. That's just my 2 cents.
All right. That was Coach Boris 2 minutes. Coach Edwards, just take your 2 minutes and just give your final thoughts.
Yeah, you notice the word Boris elaborate on just now, growth mindset, not closed mindset. I repeat myself. He said growth mindset, not closed mindset. It is super important for us to, start thinking like that. It's the only way we're going to see change. And when I say change, I'm talking about positive change, both on a football standpoint and as a nation. Because, I think we need it. We need to start, take a look back at, what's going on in our society. And most of the time, it starts from sports. We don't have a lot of kids playing on the streets anymore. That's a major issue from a society standpoint. We need to start, looking into these things. And for sure, my name is Man. I am going to try to play my part as best as I can to, start bringing back that type of, platform in the country. So I just, personally, I just want to say, I'm happy. I'm happy to see where, the football is going, and I'm happy, to see that, past players like Freddy and Barris and Buckle, have the vision to assist with creating, this situation for, a young coach like myself. Yeah, man, I applaud you guys for doing what you're doing. Yeah, thanks.
Listen, I want to thank all of you guys. I mean, for just being on tonight. We had Kerry on a few days ago. In fact, I think he did the Saturday and then he went down to Dominica to watch the U15 tournament. But want to thank you guys, because I remember when this whole thing came up and I had the first meeting. It some persons were concerned that we just have a meeting and nothing would come from the meeting. I don't know if you remember that, Coach Barris, because one of the concerns with the players when we had the initial meeting on Zoom with the coach and stuff, it was that it could be one of those next have a discussion and then nothing, and then the first camp, the second camp, there was some negative around it, and the fact that it continued and it is going to continue is an indication that if we come together, we work hard with one mind, one heart, then we can make a difference. And I know that because just my interaction with, I see Lulu was here, whose son was at the U15. And when I talk to parents of the kids, the fact that they were even at a camp, like it just made them, even if there is ever such a thing as more Jamaican than they were even before. And it's not like they have made a Jamaican national team at the youth level. They're at the camp, and the feeling of joy to be invited as a Jamaican to a camp was so overwhelming for some of them. And so my point is that there is already a win. The fact that the camps happen is a win already, regardless of what happens after this. And that I'm forever grateful for. And I use this opportunity also to encourage others, because there are many others out there who can take up certain initiatives. We should be critical of people when they're not doing what they're supposed to do. But we should never allow people's failure to carry out their task to prevent us from doing the good we can. That's what I respect with Coach Butler and Edwards and Coach Johnson and Kerry and Butler and all the others who are involved in this, Leon Garden, all the others, Bob Campbell, all the others who are involved in this. Here's what. In spite of all that has not and is not being done, they are doing what they can do. So you can criticize and you can blame and you can say this needs to change, but never let that stop you from doing what you can do to make a difference. And that's what I appreciate, right? I'm going to leave because I keep seeing a white angel walking behind Boris. You understand me? And I'm not sure that I want to be in this environment.
That was an African. That was an African.
Man, thank you for having me, man. Yeah, man, I really appreciate it. Stan, Nice meeting you. Devon.
Same here, Richard.
Frog.
Yeah,
Frog.
Shortman. That's who link you, yeah?
All right, so.
Yeah, man.
Boris,
Listen, every time,
stay
man.
blessed.
Every time.
Man, I want
Always.
to say one thing. I must say this actually because about Freddy, which I'm very proud of Freddy and what he's accomplished. Because for those people who have been around way back when to play ball against, I play ball with late 80s, early 90s. Many of them not around anymore. Have a challenging time, and Freddy has done really well. So big up to you, Freddy. Continued success.
And people, I did ask, and they said Cranky was decent, but he wasn't special.
I have no comment. I'm not telling anybody I was a baller. I'm not telling anybody I was a baller. I was on the field. I would say I was a baller.
All right, then. Bless up to all the persons who were on tonight. Really enjoyed your company. Freddy Butler was here. Pepsi was here. Patrick, you don't know, Lance Legacy was here. You know, thanks to Coach Boris, Coach Edwards, Mr. Porter, Cranky, also Brian, who was here earlier. To all the persons who are in the comment section, thank you so much as always. A pleasure being with you, knowing that you have taken time out of your time to spend time doing this, discussing a sport that we so love. Just a couple of things. Make sure you hit the like button. If you have not yet subscribed. Also share the content as you go. Finally, we have I Am Sure Sports Fantasy Premier League. As you know, it starts tomorrow. Man City plays their first game. So what you can do, you can sign up. There'll be lots of prizes at the end of every month and at the end of the season for those who are leading. So you can check the link. It's in the description of this video, so you can be a part of that. Just an next way of having some fun. On the 8th, Jamaica plays Honduras at the National Stadium, and on the 12th, they play Haiti at the National Stadium. Both are night games. Begin to save up your money. And then on the 22nd, our Reggae Girls plays Canada in the first leg of Olympic qualifiers. The second leg will be played in Canada. Make sure you start putting monies together to buy your tickets to go out and support our national team. Our U15 created history, the first team at this level to qualify for a semifinals in a CONCACAF tournament. They will be playing their game. We'll give you the details of that and who they will be playing. But I am management. This has been I Am Sure Sports. And as usual, when it gets to this point of the show, we say we are over and we are OUT out of here.
Yo, watch about dog, SK New Erdis. The body out there, Sniper King I represent for I Am Sure Sports. You get to me, I say, when you want the latest news and sports and updates and all of that, check out I Am Sure Sports. You know the thing goes in. Remember, cover the whole island. Remember Kingston, Westmoreland, Galchester, Ocho-Race, Galtigo Bay. Everywhere. I Am Sure Sports. Check it out for the latest news and latest updates. Sniper King I represent. Where them feel like, yeah. Someone on for the food from we young, from we day, you need height. I Am Sure Sports. Yeah, dog.